We have Vakul here with us, with whom we'll be discussing how we can drive hyperscale growth for a lot of brands. In the interest of time, I'll quickly keep the introduction very brief. Welcome, Vakul. Thank you for joining us today. Quick introduction to everybody who's here. Vakul is an IIT Bombay graduate who's been in the industry for over 9 years now. He's played a front leader role at Growfers, which is now Blinkit, driving their growth and strategy over the for a good part of 6 years. And today he leads the growth at Licious. Thank you for joining us, Vakul. Really excited to have you.
Oh, I'm also excited to be here, and thank you for the introduction, Pranav. Hey, Sunil.
I think without further ado, we'll get started in terms of the questions we had, and sort of picking your brains on the D2C space and what's been happening today. To start off, I think from Growfers to Licious, you've been right at the front leading e-commerce and D2C revolution for a lot of these brands. Just want to understand from you how the journey has been and what part of it.
See, Growfers majorly was a long stint to figure out what the right product market fit would be for us. We started by delivering convenience in 2015, and our model was order anything and you'll get it delivered in 90 minutes. It was a marketplace model. Soon realized that will not work for us. There was no product market fit. The retention was fairly poor, and that is one of the signs to figure out whether the business was working or making sense for us or not. Took inspiration from D-Mart, the largest retailer out there. And no one at that time in 2016 in the online space was talking about better prices on groceries. So did that, saw some initial success, and our business grew from 2016 till 2018 at a decent pace. With the cost metric always check marked. In 2018, almost everyone, be it Flipkart, Amazon, Reliance Jio, and other players, including BB, which is Big Basket, entered with the same proposition, which is get groceries at the lowest price. And then again, we're in that dilemma, and what should we do now? Because almost everyone is saying the same thing, and business is not growing at that rapid, fast pace. And then 2020, late 2020, in fact, November, is when we kind of decided that, okay, let's try to do a convenience-led solve, but using our own inventory instead of using a marketplace. That is what you see in terms of Zeptos of the world or Blinkits of the world, which again is working beautifully well right now, just that the competition is just heating up. Today, Big Basket has also announced that they'll do a 10-minute grocery delivery as well. Right. So that was the major part at Growfers. At Licious, because it's a D2C brand, the expectation changes. Now we obviously need to compete with the likes of Fresh to Home and other players in this category. So that is there. But you also need to compete with the Zeptos and Swiggies of the world, because you're also delivering the product, right? So customer will obviously expect a delivery time which is not very laid back to what they are getting from other competitors. The third thing is that your platform on which you are selling, which is your app and website, again needs to be top notch, because the same user who might be ordering from Swiggy is ordering from Licious as well. And hence, all your delivery services, all your product experiences, and the quality of the product that you actually deliver, all three needs to be a check mark. And that is why D2C is such an interesting space to be in. It's the best of all three worlds.
I agree with you. I think a lot of the brands that we speak with as well today, they want to be D2C, and for them it's bringing people to the platform. But a lot of times we forget to focus on the platform itself, how good an experience is the platform providing. And glad to hear about Licious as well. My next question was about Licious, how you've created an entire category for meat to home in India. So just want to understand from you how you're looking at scaling Licious, from the leadership position that you're in today, and what do you foresee as challenges or opportunities?
So see, the Licious story, if it comes from me, you might not believe it, but I've visited the processing plants and the actual supply chain. The difference in what we have versus how the category operates, you'll be just shocked to see the difference. I jokingly said to my wife that I'll stop eating non-veg if it is not from Licious after seeing the processing plants, right? That is how stark the difference is. Now, that is known to me because I visited the plant, right? You can't expect a user to visit a plant and then take a call. Now, how do we bring that story in front of the users is the job to be done. The passion that the founders have at Licious, and there is this saying that Abhay is the founder and he has a little daughter, right? He always used to say when I was interviewing as well, right? That if I can't feed my daughter, then I can't feed any of the user. It's just like, say, founders to bolte rehte hain. It's okay, right? But to look at that passion and what he has done on the supply chain is just tremendous. So right now, the primary job to be done at our end is first to tell the difference that a Licious product goes through on the supply chain and present it in front of consumer, because right now no one knows. Just to give you an example, right? The value-added products that these guys cook in the factory, right? They use virgin olive oil, and on the package they just write oil. No one knows that it's made in a virgin olive oil, etc. Right? So that is the job to be done first. The second is the platform is not really that great. So if you compare a Swiggy versus a Licious app, there are various differences. So how do we ensure that we play on the front foot on the tech or the platform piece that is there? And the third thing is because everyone is moving at shorter delivery times, right? You're now hearing 10-minute delivery, 30-minute delivery, 45-minute delivery. So how do we ensure that we are upping our game on the delivery piece as well, right? So these three things are most important for us right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think really interesting to hear about the overall processing unit and how you're trying to bring that quality as a differentiator as well, which brings me to the next question. I mean, how do we communicate a lot of this to the users? I think it's the brand that plays the role, right? So if you could put on how it's like, say for example, if we had to take Grofers today, right? Grofers is rebranded to Blinkit. So what do you see is the difference in the brand proposition and what they're trying to build?
So two things. Grofers always stood for lowest prices, and we were hammering that message for last 5 years. And when we shifted our proposition, which is from prices or savings to convenience first, we tried it using the same name, Grofers. But the recall within our loyal users was very high in terms of, do we get the same price? Right? Are we getting the best of the savings? And they used to always compare us with the likes of DMart or Reliance, Fresh, etc. because they used to always compare prices. So that was a dilemma at our end. How do we tell them that we are no longer providing the best of the prices? We have shifted gear in terms of providing convenience as our primary benefit towards users. And then is when we thought that, okay, it's better to change the name of the brand because the association is so strong. It will probably be more expensive for us to change the association than have a different name altogether and build that association from ground up, right? So that is how the shift happened, and that's the background story on that. But like you said, right, the brand needs to talk about the benefit that you are providing to a user in a very seamless way. Right? Blinkit has not done a brand campaign, right? At Licious, we are trying to figure out what is the perfect or a good product market fit for us in this category. And once we have figured that out, then is when we'll want to talk about that, right? But yeah, that was.
Brand building plays a very crucial role, and I think our next also speaks about that. How many founders they speak of focus on performance, bring me a lot of users, acquire a lot of new users, but that sort of cuts them short on the brand front, and it's late later to revise that and fix that. So how have you seen that impact brands in the long run, and does it impact long-term success?
It does, right? Because it's not 1-0, right? It has to be both together. And the good part about brand is if you do it right, it can unlock some serious growth for you, right? In brand, 1 + 1 will not be equal to 2. It could be 6 as well, but that 1 + 1 could also be a 0. Unlike a performance wherein a 1 + 1 will always be 2, right? So that is why brand can seriously unlock growth if done in the right way. To figure that out, I think the essential things is whether business they're seeing solid retention on the benefits that they're giving to users? Do they see good organic acquisition? And is the NPS good enough or not? Once all these three are validated, you know that you have figured out a service which people appreciate. Now it is the best time for you to take the service and project that brand message across various geographies or regions that you're operational in. And then the brand marketing will do its job. But you need to do it right. And again, it's not 0-1. You need to do it both at the right time. Performance, obviously, you can continue. Brand, you need to be very sure when you want to intervene.
Completely agree. I think a lot of our conversations also today with D2C brands is around the same lines. It's not just a performance game, and how can we marry brand and performance. Moving on to the next question, Vakul. I think you work with millions of customers today, and there's so many customers we've acquired. How do you stay in touch with these consumers, and what kind of a role do you think insights play from consumers in your communication strategy?
See, insights is a very central function, right? It gives us almost all the levers, and insights is both quantitative and qualitative insights. So I'm including data insights also in that piece, right? So that becomes really important for us. Now, how do we do, and what are the channels that we use? So there are three primary channels. One obviously is all your digital platforms that are available to you. Right? The second is all your CLM platforms, if you are a D2C brand or an internet brand, and all your notifications, emailers, SMSs, and also the in-app properties that you own. And that becomes a very important channel. And the third is obviously ATL and other channels that you would want to explore, right? So these are the three channels. Now, basis the data that you have, which is first-party data, you can easily slice and dice your audiences and different cohorts or segments that you seem are appropriate for your business. The way we have done it is very simple. We have divided users in whether these users are profitable for business, not so profitable for business, very poor for business, right? And these take inputs in terms of what device they're using, where do they live, what is the recency, frequency, average order value that these users inhibit for the business. Right? Using this cohort strategy, and then reaching out to your insights team saying that, okay, I see a decline in my profitable cohort in February. Can you tell me what is the reason? Then they will mine data. They'll also connect with few of the profitable users, try to identify what are the top 5 or 3 reasons that they are not repeating with the business. And then you try to solve the problem if it is solvable. For example, assortment is less in Feb. You know that, okay, your profitable users felt that the assortment in February was less. Then can you go to the supply chain team or the category team, first validating and knowing why it was less, and then what are the steps that you will take to ensure that it is not happening again in March. So that is how critical is the insights team role at Licious. And the same goes true at Grofers as well.
Absolutely. I think we've also seen that insights play a crucial role, and glad that you mentioned quantitative insights as well, because my next question to you is, as a growth leader, what key metrics do you look at tracking when it comes to growth and sort of building these D2C platforms the way we have?
So see, on a daily basis, the matrices that we look at is how many new and old DAUs you're getting, what is the conversion for these two cohorts, the average order value that we see, and the cost metric, how much are you spending. Gross margin is one thing that we obviously look, because EBITDA is important at this point in time, at the stage at which Licious is. So these are the matrices that we look on a daily basis. On a slightly longer view, you also measure retention across different cohorts, how the retention is moving. And one important metric that we follow is wallet share, which is nothing but average order value into number of times a user is transacting in a month. So is that moving for your loyal users or not? That becomes very important. But like I said, on a daily basis, your DAUs, conversions, average order value, the cost metric across different cohorts is what we look at.
Makes sense. Following on the same sort of conversation, and how do these metrics sort of percolate through the organization, and how are they being sort of making sure that we hit the success metrics with those KPIs?
So on an org level, it's slightly a long-term vision that we define. So OKR, I'm assuming everyone would know about, right? So it comes from revenue number that you would want to chase as a business, which gets broken down into users, right? New and old. Old is very critical for a D2C or an internet company because retention plays an important role, and that is where most of the revenue lies. So retention is inbuilt in the old piece. New user is a PMF exercise wherein if your product market fit is really awesome, then your organic acquisition and your CAC will be low, and hence your retention of new users will also be very solid. So that is how at least it is broken down. EBITDA is a different line item wherein you are always working towards cost efficient growth and not really are depending on spending more money to get more growth, right? And that is where your marketing cost as a metric to your revenue lies. And how much are you spending as a percentage of your revenue? That is always a check metric. So these are the two important OKRs on a company level, and that is how it percolates down to almost each and every one of us, at least in the revenue team.
A lot of investment also happening on videos today and creator focused content, right? And I think Tanveer was also mentioning in the previous chat that video is really helping discovery and conversion for a lot of brands. How are you at Licious sort of leveraging creators and videos?
So we have started leveraging influencers right now. Videos, we have seen enough validation that they perform the best, right? Unfortunately, we don't have a in-house team who can create or churn videos at a really fast pace. So we are out looking for an agency who can help us in the interim, right? On the content piece though, like you said, we are working closely with few of the home chefs. There are multiple home chef influencers on YouTube and even on Instagram, because that is a very relevant genre for us, right? So that is what we are exploring, and that has also given us initial good success. Right? The content is majorly innovated by the influencer themselves. In our case, because we want it to be organic when they post it to their users. But yeah, that piece has been working really well for us. It has been only 2 months that we started this initiative, but it's going quite strong.
Makes complete sense. I think we're nearing the end of our chat. So I think if you have to give all the D2C founders here and the teams that have joined us, one key takeaway in growing or hyperscaling D2C brands, what would that be that, we could all take away from?
See, one thing is, don't be an FMCG company. If you're a D2C company, there is a difference, right? We can easily sell Licious products on Swiggy and Zomatos of the world. No one stops us from doing that, but then you will not get the multiple that you get for being a D2C company, because there you own all the three aspects, which is product, which essentially an FMCG company owns, the platform where a user is coming to buy, and hence you own the user, and third is the delivery experience, which again you own. So that you should definitely try to have all the information about the customer at your end, and that is first. The second is, don't rest until you figure out a good product market fit. There are only 3 matrices which will help you determine. One is whether your retention is solid or not. Second, how good or bad is your organic acquisition. Third is the NPS good or bad, right? Till you have not figured out your product market fit, then your business is always in danger, either from a competition or getting not so decent growth, or getting growth at a very high cost. So these would be my 2 short advice.
Makes complete sense. Well, I think before we wrap up, there's one question from the audience as well. Not sure, we'd have the answer, but the question is, how is the delivery industry sort of growing? When we're seeing that ticket sizes of products are going down and the costs of logistics are sort of increasing.
So I think, a user will always think on that sense that if I order a pack of milk, then how will Swiggy or a Blinkit will do the last mile, right? But if you look at from their point of view, it makes perfect sense. Now Zomato, or say, let's take an example of Swiggy. Swiggy delivers food. That was their main business. The 2 peaks were always in the afternoon and in the evening. Lunchtime is, say, roughly between 1 to 3. Evening dinner time is 7 to 10, for example. The grocery peak happens at a very different time. It happens from 10 to 1 and in the evening it happens from 5 to 7. So if you're ordering a pack of milk, they don't need to pay anything to the delivery guy. That delivery guy already works for them, and the peak is very different. Now with the same force, they are just churning more orders, right? And that is why it makes sense for them, right? It's different peaks, guys.
Absolutely interesting thought. I mean, we've never thought of it from that point of view, because I think we lack the perspective as well on the logistics side sometimes, being focused on the product so much. But yeah, so Neelo, any questions?
I think no, Vakul, I think we worked very closely previously as well in other startups. It's been great to hear your thoughts as well. How do you look at retention? This new category like Licious has created when at Grofers, you were really creating that category over the last few years, right? So how do you all see changing the consumer behavior plus retention?
First is in this category, at least Licious. The competition or the category is at a very nascent stage. The entire online market, you add everyone, whatever competition that you see is very small in terms of top line. And the offline practices are very unethical. As in, what they sell is not really the kind of product that you would want to consume at home, or you would want to get it delivered for your loved ones. So it is at that very nascent stage wherein first you need to tell the truth of the category to the user, because right now no one knows. I also never knew, and I just got to know that because I visited few of the places. So first tell the truth of the category, then tell how you are different, right? And don't just tell, right? People should also believe. If I tell you that I am the best, just by saying that, okay, I do this, then there is no point, right? How do you convince the user that, okay, what they are saying makes sense and I can believe them? So that is the job to be done, not to create category, just to ensure that people are consuming the right food at their home, right? That's the passion. Business will come on its own if you do that right.
No, that's great to hear about the vision of the founding team. Where do you see the future, Vakul, in terms of scale and the plans?
So see, like I said, very small category in terms of online penetration. The offline penetration is massive. The growth in this category will be much faster than at least what I have seen at Grofers, in form of Grofers or Blinkit. So that I'm very sure. But yeah, let's see how it unfolds.
No, I think Licious is the benchmark, in not just for that meat space, but overall as well in terms of creating a new category itself, right? So all the best, Vakul. Thank you so much for taking out the time and having the discussion.
No, pleasure is all mine, guys, and thank you for inviting me, guys. Real pleasure for me as well.